There are a number of ways I could start this video. There really are a number of ways I could start this video, but there's only one way I need to start this video, and it is Garrett Temple, Thomas Satoransky. What do those two names mean? Well, to the New Orleans Pelicans, they mean starting backcourt. Starting backcourt 2021. We're not even 20 games into the season. If this is the 82nd game and you're punting the game and you're trying to get a top pick, or you've put Zion on ice and Brandon Ingram on ice and all of these guys on ice and this is all you've got, that's fine. It's 2021. We haven't even played 20 games yet, and your starting backcourt is Thomas Satoransky and Garrett Temple. I could end the video right there. Because this video is me reaching out to Pelicans fans, basically a therapy session for you guys. Well, kind of in a way. I need to talk about the Pelicans, and I don't think it'll do well. Who's going to listen to me talk about the 3-16 Pelicans? Probably no one. So that's fine, but I need to get this off my chest. I need to talk about the Pelicans. Just want to give the Pelicans fans some representation, because they don't deserve this. No one deserves this. No one deserves to be watching Garrett Temple and Thomas Satoransky as their starting backcourt. Really, no one. There's a few things that I do need to say. There's some silver linings. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I always find a positive in some of the things that are going on. And there are some positives, but how many positives can you take out of the team starting 3-16? How many positives can you take out of the starting backcourt being two absolutely washed veterans that shouldn't even be seeing minutes on the court, maybe 5 minutes a game at best, and they're starting for the team? I understand Kira Lewis hasn't been good. I understand Nickeil Alexander-Walker hasn't been good. I understand Devontae Graham was missing. I understand. It's all disappointing. It's all bad. But at the moment, to have those two guys starting as your backcourt, that's why I feel sorry for Pelicans fans, and that's why I needed to talk about this, because no one else is going to talk about the Pelicans. No one else. Try and find people talking about the Pelicans. It's going to be nowhere to be found. But I'm going to do that. The numbers probably won't be good. Whatever. Just drop a like. That would be much appreciated. I know you don't want to even watch this video probably at this point in time, but I'll get the venting out for you guys, because let's start with the game against the Timberwolves. I can't say I've watched every Pelicans game this season. I don't think Pelicans fans could really blame me for doing that, because I do care about my mental health, but I haven't watched every Pelicans game this season. But that Timberwolves game is just pathetic. That's one of those games where it's like the team does not want to be there, they don't care, and that's fine if you're in game 80 and the season's over, and maybe the season is over because they're 3-16, they're missing their best player, and the guy that was supposed to put all of this together, the guy that was supposed to carry this team, Brandon Ingram's been injured, they've had other guys that have been injured. It hasn't been the cleanest start to the season. It's been a rough start to the season. Let's be completely honest. But to get blown out by the Timberwolves, one of the three teams you've beat this season, looks like no one really cared to be there. I know Brandon Ingram's coming off an injury, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him. Not going to be harsh on him at all. He's not playing well. What is there much else to say? He doesn't really have any help, and he's coming off an injury. Whether the injury is still affecting him, or it's just the fact that he doesn't have any help and he's in a little bit of a slump, it could be any number of things, but I'm not coming at Brandon Ingram, because there's a lot of other guys that deserve some blame, if you can even give blame to these players, because the reality is they're just not good enough. I'll put my hand up. I was wrong. I thought this team would be better than it is. And okay, let's have a little bit of positivity about this team. Let's just have a little bit of an inch of positivity. Before these last couple of games, the Pelicans had actually been quite competitive. They'd actually been pretty impressive. Herb Jones had been one of the stories of the season as a rookie, coming in, playing big minutes, locking up Paul George, locking up countless players, really being a hugely impactful guy. And when he's been on the court for this team, they've been much better for it to get him late in the second round, or wherever it was, the 40th pick. Fantastic. There's a silver lining. Jonas Valanciunas, fantastic. He's shooting the three ball like we hoped. He's going to stretch the floor when Zion comes back. He's been good offensively. Cool. Devontae Graham's been decent. That's fine. There's some silver linings. Oh, there's another silver lining for you guys. Well, if they end up the season winning 15 games, like they're on track to do, well, they might get Paolo Banchero or, Jaden Hardy. I don't really know the draft class. I don't think Chet Holmgren really fits what they're trying to do, because they're trying to win now, so they need a rookie that can come in and at least help them out. But they might get one of those guys that could help them out, or maybe they trade that pick away. That's a silver lining. But what is not a silver lining is Kira Lewis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, 3-16, not caring 19 games into the season, playing Thomas Satoransky and Garrett Temple. Like, that's what's not a silver lining. And I want to start with those three names that I mentioned, the three young players, because that's where the most disappointment has come from. Do you expect this team to be 500 without Zion and without Brandon Ingram for a few of those games as well? No. They've been competitive in a decent amount of those games, and you see some improvements defensively. Mentioned Herb Jones. Trey Murphy will be better as time goes on. Why he played 4 minutes in this game? I don't know. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you. But he only played 4 minutes in the game against the Timberwolves. But as time goes on, I expect good things from him and Herb. We're already seeing that. That's fine. They made some decent offseason trades with the likes of Valanciunas. Cool. But these three guys that I expected bigger things from, well, Kyra Lewis, honestly, never been that high on him. Not saying he can't have a decent career. I've never really rated him that highly. Hasn't been fantastic. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, two guys that I had pretty high expectations for heading into this season. Two guys that not only looked good towards the end of last season, because Jackson Hayes for a long time, I was not high on him either. I thought he just looked like an absolute fool on the court. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, no disrespect to the guy, but he just looked like he didn't belong on the court, because he didn't for the first couple of years. But the end of last year, I thought, okay, this is what this guy can do. He's a freak athlete. He can catch lobs. He can get out onto the perimeter at times. He can block shots. He can finish at the rim. He's got some potential there. And maybe he still does. I'm sure he still does have some potential, but that potential is not being tapped into this season. And if it's not being tapped into this season, when is it going to be tapped into? Like, let's be honest. If he can't get the minutes this season or get the production on a team that is as bad as it should ever be with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. I know Zion's missed games, and I know Ingram's missed games, but as bad as it should ever get, if he can't get the minutes or the production this season, then it's just never really going to work, is it? Let's be completely honest. And this is coming from someone that expected decent things from him this season, because it wasn't just he looked good. Oh, he had numbers to back it up. He was even shooting the three ball. Apparently in practice, Jackson Hayes is lights out. I heard that. Where is it? Where is any of this stuff from Jackson Hayes? Nickeil Alexander-Walker has disappointed me as well. Another guy he's just inconsistent. You see the flashes, but it gets to the point where you're in year 3. We don't care anymore if you drop 30 points every 4 games. We care that you don't drop 8 points on 3 of 15 shooting every 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where it's got to with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I can see a career trajectory where he turns into what Jordan Clarkson was last year, as a spark plug and a really good player off the bench, or I could see him being what he is right now, which is the equivalent of Jordan Clarkson this year. And if you haven't watched any Jazz games, the numbers speak for themselves, okay? They're not pretty. So I could see that. I could see it going either way, but right now, if you're a Pelicans team that wants to win games and wants to show that these guys that you put draft picks and time into have developed, you're not getting any of that, really. You're really getting none of it. The rookies so far have been decent. Trey Murphy hasn't done a ton, but he's been cool. Herb Jones has been fantastic. But the guys that were supposed to take the leap, the guys that were supposed to be along with Ingram and Zion, and that's the disappointing part, because the reality is this team still isn't good enough to the point where they should be if these guys are going to play like this, even with Zion back. Zion comes back and he helps out players like Trey Murphy. He probably helps out guys like Herb Jones, guys that don't really have the creation themselves right now, and so they can just spot up, they can cut off the ball, they can utilize his gravity and just his overall impact and his presence on the team as that guy, because he's that guy. So he'll help those guys. But there's no reason you need Zion back to help out Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, Kyra Lewis. Kyra Lewis is still young. Not giving up on him. Not giving up. I'm not saying any of these guys are completely done, but it's just disappointing on all aspects, if we're being completely honest. It's just disappointing all across the board from all 3 of these guys. And if you're looking at a team with or without Zion, it's not good enough if those guys are just playing like that. And when you've got Satoransky and Temple and just a bunch of guys that just shouldn't even be on rosters at this point, if we're being completely honest. Where do we go from here for the Pelicans? Well, this season is pretty much over. There's one clear route. This is the silver lining. Sorry if this video is a little bit all over the place, but the scrambledness of my thoughts on the Pelicans, I think, kind of sums up the Pelicans. The Pelicans, the front office, this team does not deserve me writing a script or going through the numbers. No, it doesn't. They don't deserve it. The fans, you don't care to hear the numbers either. You see the on-court product, and it's not good enough right now. Willie Green has been solid. If you want to hear my thoughts on him, I think he's galvanized the team at points. Like, for a team to be depleted without their best player and without Ingram at times as well, Like, they've looked pretty competitive for the most part. These last few games have been unacceptable from a roster standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, I guess, from a playing standpoint, all across the board. It's been pathetic. But also, most of the reason I'm making this video is because Pelicans fans don't deserve this. Whether you can point to this or that and say, next year it'll be better. Like, this was supposed to be a year of optimism. You're supposed to have Zion, Ingram, Valanciunas, Alexander Walker was supposed to take a leap. Hayes was supposed to be something this year. And right now, the only other fans that are probably feeling worse about their team are the Sacramento Kings and the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets are in a clear state of rebuild. And the Kings, if you want to be in the same category as the Sacramento Kings, well then, you're doing something seriously wrong. Let's hope they get a top pick. That's what it's come down to for the Pelicans. I don't even know what to say, man. I feel sorry for you guys. That's why I made this video, despite the numbers will probably be bad. But there you go. That's me talking about the Pelicans. I'm praying for you guys.